Imagine regressing 6 times and becoming the strongest, and the world is still destroyed. Yuji Tai has experienced that fate. He's the Sung Jinwoo that couldn't protect his world from the destructive wrath of dragons. In his 7th regression, he adopts a different approach, deciding to kidnap the dragon hatchlings that end up causing the destruction of the world. 4 of them came here for fun, but each one of them suffered a gruesome fate, resulting in their demise at the hands of humanity. This angered the adult dragons who flew their way to Earth to take revenge, scorching the entire planet. Even with his strength, Jite couldn't save the world from burning. So now he's got his sights set on a different goal. His first destination is Italy to meet the first hatchling. Jitai encounters his first target, and thanks to his system's special ability, he's basically Duolingo in human form, capable of using every single language in the world. The green-haired petite girl questions his identity and intentions with her, to which he responds saying he's got some business between them. She realizes that this man knows about her. He confirms this fact, and then asks if she knows about him all the same. Without even hesitating, the ominous girl confirms his name as Yu Jite, showcasing that she knows everything. Now, our boy wasn't expecting to get doxxed like that, so he shifts his tone into a serious one and asks where she heard about him. The girl points him to his ID badge, because of his formal attire as a policeman. It's written out in the open. She quits her joking tone, hilariously revealing that she has absolutely no idea who he is or what his deal is. Be that as it may, there is one thing she knows with absolute confidence, and it's that the absolute unit of a man standing before her eyes is supremely powerful. Considering the scenic view, a man of such power doesn't belong here in this place. Both of her judgments are accurate, so he simply averts his gaze. That leads the girl to wonder about his real intention, if he's some kind of assassin sent here to kill her ass. Jite denies any such possibility, so then she assumes that it must be related to some kind of super-secret kidnapping mission. Our boy basically agrees that this is what it's going to be. She weirds him the hell out by asking if he's the type of freaky Reddit furry who gets a boner for dragons. Jite is done with her goofing personality, and assures the hatchling that his purpose is to protect her this time. This means that if she doesn't follow his advice, he's going to have to use forceful means just to bend her to his will. An interesting revelation about the Green Dragon clan comes with their special eyesight. They can immediately grasp the scope of a situation, making them far more perceptive than other clans. Long story short, she's basically scanning his intentions even now, since she's a member of the Green Dragon clan. But when it comes to our tall, brooding, and fed-up protagonist, he basically threatens her to make the correct decision. Entertaining the idea of going along with his ridiculous plan, the Green Dragon is hoping that he'll at least treat her sweetly wherever he keeps her. Jite confirms that he'll make sure of that, and in the end, even the dragon admits that she has virtually no choice here at all. He's going to kidnap her one way or another, but the least he can do is treat her like a guest. That's all she cares about. She even puts up a pinky promise finger to show sincerity from each side. Interestingly, Jite takes note of her shaking hand, and I'm guessing he goes along with the gesture just to make her feel safe. In the next scene, the green hatchling wakes up with messy hair, a little flustered to wonder if her tall prince is awake. Weirdly enough, I think she looks a lot like Tatsumaki but with longer hair. She ends up finding him in the living room, where Jitai seems to be communicating with his ability. He instructs his shadow to go to a certain place for a mission. This is one of his abilities called the Shadow of the Grand Duke, allowing him to summon an identical clone inhabiting 50% of his powers. The clone manifests in his image, acting subservient to its master in order to obey his command. He moves along and crosses by the green dragon, who politely says hello, reflecting how it's a perfect recreation. The real Jite assures her that she's got nothing to do with his other self, and turns out that this guy is actually the one who does all the police work for him. Bro is basically using shadow clone jutsu to work his 9 to 5. Now that's smart. Anyway, she realizes quickly that this man doesn't go to work at all, but Jite argues that he's technically working because the clone is one of his abilities. The more important factor is him sticking by her side, basically providing her the service of a bodyguard. She buys that explanation and sits next to him, suggesting they have breakfast. Jite is surprised that she mentioned that, while she playfully teases him to eat something because he even skipped dinner last night, and even then he rejects her offer. Bro is following Brian Johnson's protocol to keep those calories low for sure. The green dragon pouts, saying how weird it is that the owner of the house doesn't even eat while she gets to do whatever. Jite counters by asking why she bothers eating thrice a day, when dragons can easily live without needing to eat any food. The playful dragon basically tells his depressed ass that life is more than just survival, and eating makes her happy. This is something that surprises him a little, so she gets up immediately afterwards and orders him to come grocery shopping with her. Bro rejects that offer too, but the green dragon is insistent, emphasizing that she wants to show him the power of breakfast. Fast forwarding to a shopping mart, we arrive in a busy place of people. Their attention isn't focused on their own shopping, but towards an alluring goddess who looks like a celebrity from afar. Jite walks with the pretty dragon, realizing that couples are literally fighting each other just because they're walking by. With their shopping finished, Jite complains that they've brought way too much food. The reason she did this is simple. It's because this man doesn't keep any food in his kitchen. Bro doesn't even have cooking utensils, and she wants to take care of that station from now on. That's why she's dying to serve him some real breakfast for once. A grumpy Jite demands her to leave everything at home so they can eat outside, and this is something that bugs her. Turns out that they have to go somewhere immediately, a place where she needs to come along. He also thinks it's past breakfast time, and it makes her feel sad because she hadn't shopped in a while. She follows his lead, asking where they need to go, to which Jite explains that there is some more stuff she needs before she starts living with him properly. He asked her to catch up since they've got a lot to do. In the next scene, a creepy egghead PDF file is gooning over the pretty girl. Jite reminds this dumbass to focus on his work unless he wants to lose his remaining eyeball as well. Next, they head over to the receptionist to receive their documents. They also grab a bunch of accessories and meddle with the system shortly afterwards. The long day comes to an end with the registration process of her ID card. Yubom is now a member of this city, though she finds it strange to have one at all. Jite catches on and asks if she's never had one before, to which Bomb explains she didn't even have a bank account in her name. In his head, Bro is questioning how this dragon survived all this time. By the way, she's curious why he chose to give her Bomb as a name. It's actually because Jite copied it from one of the 4 seasons, one for each different dragon. She likes the name Yubom, expressing how spring is the one season where life flourishes on Earth, so it's a gorgeous name. Despite all that, she finds him terrifying even now. Thanks to her eyes, every fiber of her being is telling her not to fuck with this man because she's gonna find out real bad. At the same time, Bomb believes that he's a good person, though he thinks her assumption is off after only meeting him for one day. The green dragon argues that her intuition is far sharper than the rest of the world. That's why, with radiant confidence, she sweetly asks if it's fine for her to keep watching him a little longer. This marks a tremendous step in Jitai's personal journey of his previous hopeless regressions. He'd never been able to make her smile before. Right now, his eyes felt heavy as he looked up at the sky, pleasantly admitting that things started off great. But somewhere on a wasteland stranded in the African continent, there's a crimson-haired dragon tormenting her opponent. The baldhead has a negative IQ because even in this situation he tries to rage bait her, only to get his face smashed in while she takes great joy in his suffering. She's even disappointed that he died too early, but no matter, because out of 199 battles, this musketeer has won every single one of them, making her wonder who her next opponent is going to be. We get a little backstory on what's going on in Africa. A terrorist organization, Barcada, is being utilized by demonic humans, annihilating 1,400 civilians in the process. One report suggests the findings of an African vigilante, a teenage girl that the media dubs as Night Hunter. She's single-handedly facing Barcada. Jite reads this and realizes that he has to step in and make a move. Bomb calls from the other kitchen, stating that dinner's ready. Now he probably was expecting some kind of Michelin star top-tier meal, but what he finds is a fuming mess that looks genuinely unappetizing. Bro is so depressed just looking at it, while the pure girl curiously asks of his impressions. She found a dish involving the use of sardines during her visit to the UK. That's why she decided to pair it with rice, knowing Koreans love it. Bro takes a spoonful, and his soul is literally watching this dead fish begging to be put out of its misery. It's not even food at this point, it's a goddamn poison. Jite switches topics and reveals his intentions of grabbing the red dragon. Bomb pouts in sadness, reflecting that it's gonna be a real mess grabbing her. She's not someone who would easily come along if he just asks. That's actually why this guy is intending on using Bomb to help with the persuasion, though she doesn't think her involvement is going to help much. Both dragons are from different houses, so it's a little awkward. By the way, Bro still hasn't taken a bite of this corpse of a meal. Bomb explains that all dragon houses want different things. While she loves building things personally, the red dragons have a different nature. They're more tending when it comes to war and violence. They love showing off their dominance, which is why using force isn't going to help. To red dragons, their pride and honor means everything, so defeat basically means death. Though Jite understands this, he also thinks it's dangerous if he doesn't go out and rescue her soon, because hidden in the same wasteland is a powerful warrior coming to get her, and if he doesn't do anything, she's bound to get killed by this person. That's why he wants Bomb to come, so that they don't have to fight and settle things easily. She watches him blankly, which really baffles him. The spring dragon really finds it odd that he's asking her help out in the open, because initially, he gives her the impression that he's the do-it-all workaholic who never asks for anyone else's help. She's so astonished by his request that she agrees right away, emphasizing that she also wants Red to survive. However, this playful dragon has one single condition. She has to finish the food sitting in front of him. She caught his ass putting his spoon down during their conversation. Okay guys, I think our protagonist is gonna get killed, so maybe this story is done for. Bro basically internalizes that he's fucked and takes the bite that will make his toilet cry. In the next scene, we find ourselves at the wasteland where Red is wreaking havoc. She's destroyed nearly a dozen soldiers, calling each of them weak as she smacks them around with ease. She really wanted her 200th battle to be something more than just boring, so much so that Red is beginning to contemplate moving to another continent, because Africa doesn't have anyone to fight her. She remembers that Green is doing well in Europe, and wonders if she should catch up with her. 2 soldiers are spying on her. Despite being the elite members of their team, they watch their comrades get obliterated by a single girl. At this point, she's less of a girl and more of a war machine. Knowing that they're falling short in strength, the men desperately cling to the hope of their leader. Not that it matters, because Red catches them whispering and jumps them. One of them tries to shoot her, but it's far too late as she's inches away from cutting him down. Suddenly, bright yellow flashes of light distract her. A pulsing yellow mana ray then smacks her all the way back. Red is barely able to block it with her sword, questioning why this attack is so strong. She strengthens her grip and exerts her might to cut down the mana beam, terrifying the soldiers who barely survived. The warrior destined to defeat and kill her has at last arrived. Javier is here to hunt the Night Hunter, and I'm not gonna lie, bro looks like he maxed out his drip stat. He's affiliated with the African Union and is classified as the 8th strongest superhuman. Red comments her intrigue. She's genuinely happy to meet the leader at last. The warrior is astonished by how young this girl seems, basically a teenager at most. It's actually the reason why Red wore that mask. It's because no one would bother facing her properly without it. Javier is stunned that she's refusing to surrender even after experiencing the gap between their strengths. But this feisty dragon doesn't care about her weapon. Her pride is everything. She would rather die standing than live on her knees. Did you get that reference? Pulsing with overwhelming red mana, she uses Naruto's tailed beast cloak to attack him. The first strike misses, the second kick is blocked with his heavy sword, and the third punch is also defended. During these hits, Red builds the momentum to expose an opening and lands the mightiest nut-busting dick-destroying punch that humanity has ever known. But to her shock, this man's ding-dong is more powerful than Goku because he doesn't even flinch. The definition of having balls of titanium. Now, Javier has noticed that the little girl probably never had the misfortune of fighting someone more powerful than her. That's why she had easy fights, which is why she will die foolishly because of her pride. Javier whips his blade to put an end to her talent, and with a single slash, he nearly takes her head clean off. Meet the most aura-inducing sword of all time, the Sword of Ra. God damn, now that's fucking metal. Wielding its special ability, he readies to finish her off. Even the red dragon knows she's incapable of dodging this attack, which is why she has to defend it head-on. The slash severs the horizon, dealing a heavy blow to his opponent. Red crashes into the wall, somehow surviving the impact. Javier observed how she managed to energize her arms in that exact moment to survive the lethal blow. This means he needs to up his output to properly defeat her. When the dust settles, Red is nowhere to be found. He thinks she ran away, when in reality, Green has come to save her. Even then, she couldn't help herself from blabbing in shock, questioning what she's doing here. Bomb assures her that she's here to help Red, and using her healing powers, she cures her injuries. Red didn't know she would pop up out of nowhere like that, while Bomb explains that she was told by someone about her situation. Pissed off after being healed, she rants at the Green Dragon for meddling with her fights again. Maintaining her pride as the Red Dragon, she refuses to give up until she dies in combat. However, Bomb catches her attention by stating how her death could change everything. The consequences of her death will fall upon others, and deep down, Bomb knows that not even Red wants their amusement to end. She personally wants to stay on Earth and enjoy, and she hopes that Red sees that vision and cooperates with her. It genuinely astonishes the Red Dragon, but she thinks it's hopeless to run away against a monstrous opponent like Javier. To that, the Green Dragon assures her that she's got her man to take care of that. The way she worded it is strange, but ultimately the Grim Reaper himself has appeared on the battlefield. Javier looks around to question his identity. Jite responds coldly, stating that he's his escort to hell. The scene cuts off to and meets us with the Yellow Dragon, who can sense Green's lingering presence on him. Excitedly, the little sunshine questions who he is, immediately recognizing that he's not a bad person. Back to the battle of the 2 aura farmers. Javier thinks it's weird for this guy to come help the little girl escape. Instead of fighting head-on, Jitai offers the warrior a chance to just stop the fight. This is an insulting remark to him, who walks up to our guy, pissed that this dude came out of nowhere barking orders at him. He thinks that Red has crossed a line, but Jitai argues that she's never killed anyone at all. The warrior takes great offense, but Jitai personally assures him that he's going to take the girl away, urging them to settle this affair peacefully. Refusing his offer, Javier grabs his sword, gathering the might of Ra in his blade. As he's about to slash the man before him, Javier emphasizes that this is the territory of their organization. As one of the investigators, he's going to arrest both of them. Saying as much, he unleashes the full swing of the same sword he inflicted upon Red. The destructive output literally obliterates everything in its way, scarring the earth with a trail. What's interesting is that Javier for sure knows his attack wouldn't have killed this guy, especially if he's affiliated with the Red Girl. Speaking of which, Jitai basically pulls a "he's right behind me, isn't he?" card on his ass. Javier knows he's cooked, while my man reminds the superhuman that he's only ranked 8th among all of them, basically trash-talking him down. Javier hastens to draw his sword again, questioning how this dude managed to speed blitz him. But what of his golden sword if his limbs aren't there to wield it? His arm goes flying with a single cut, while the wielder of the dark comes up to remind him only once that he's making a huge mistake by taking this fight. Then he gives him an alibi to go and report to his organization. Javier will report that the girl overwhelmed him more than he could handle, and then he couldn't respond to the creature's attacks, resulting in both his arms being severed in the process. Even his eyes, which is why he lost track of the escaping targets. By the way, the creepiest and scariest part about this is that Jite has only cut one arm so far. To make his story fit, this man literally puts his energy blade next to Javier's eyes as he pleads for mercy. And his world goes dark, and he can never experience wielding his weapon again. The only reason Jite went so far is because he knows there are healing superhumans within the organization, capable of regenerating limbs and even eyes. But the one thing they can't heal is the sheer amount of terror this man has inflicted within Javier. That trauma will stay with this guy for his life. Jite used fear as his instrument to perfectly suit his goals. Next, he stares down the red-haired dragon, who looks like she's seen a ghost before her eyes. The same fear has now been inflicted in her, achieving his second goal. Red thinks this guy is a fucking monster in the face of a human, but Green explains that he's actually just a regular dude. Red calls bullshit, stating that she's nothing more than a stupid lizard in comparison. Jite tells the little dragon that she'll be living under his protection from this point forward. He'll allow both of them enough freedom to do whatever they want, and is even ready to support their dreams. But the moment they abandon his protection, he won't be merciful in his methods. Right away, Bomb comes to the rescue, preventing the other dragon from saying something stupid at this moment. She even winks at our boy to imply that it's a job well done. From this moment onwards, he declares Yu Yoram as her new name, with the intention of explaining it later. While Yoram is venting frustrations on her friend, our boy reports the situation to the main body. Did you get it yet? All this time, this man was his shadow clone, not even the real thing. Right around this time, the real Jite is in the Amazonian rainforest playing with sunshine over here. He commends his clone, and reflects on how it would have been difficult to safely secure Yoram all alone. That's why the Green Dragon's involvement was needed here. The pretty yellow-haired girl sits down to ask him who he just talked to. He doesn't say anything, but she teases him by reminding him that his smartwatch is sitting on her wrist. This is the Gold Dragon, and just like every other Gold Dragon, they love attention. In 6 of her lives, the Gold Dragon spent 2 of them reveling in fame. However, the one dragon who grew the most popularity simultaneously caused the most destruction among them. Even though she wanted the love of thousands, it came at a cost. Think of it like a pretty rose that came with its sharp thorns. It's also the reason she's currently stranded in the middle of nowhere to avoid attention. Anyway, while she's openly expressing herself about how cool the smartwatch is, he genuinely asks her what she's doing here at all. The question stuns her, but GT explains that the Gold Dragon is supposed to revel among humans. Instead, she's out here with monsters all by herself. His observation shocks her, but apparently the Green Dragon told her all about this one's information. Hearing her name, she dances around, flocking and confirming her assumption that he knows Green. Keeping it straight, Jite bluntly asks if she's truly afraid of humans now. His words shake her to her core. The pretty angel admits that she isn't scared of them, having shared a space around them before. Instead, she's terrified. The creeps among them looked at her with predatory eyes, even following her around. Deep down, she's just a baby who's afraid of those things, so she isolated herself. Changing topics, Jite asks if she likes bread. She reminds him that she's a dragon, so she doesn't really need to eat. Snapping his fingers, he activates his subdimension with so much space inside that it can devour a city whole. The many limbs of his dimension personally come to deliver a bag full of treats. It kind of reminds me of Mahito's domain expansion. Anyway, Gold's eyes glitter in joy when she sees a bunch of different treats. He hands the whole thing over to her for free, while she's out here salivating over donuts and blueberry egg tarts. Using this as a crutch, Jite offers the Gold Dragon a second chance at life, an opportunity to come live with him, with the promise of seeing her friends too. She can get to experience all the entertainment with her allies without worrying. Munching on her treats, she sadly remembers her mother's warning not to follow strangers. Jite deploys the ultimate response by promising her macarons in return, and apparently that's all he needs to kidnap her because this girl is down for it. In the next scene, we return to Jite's space. Yoram gazes at the cityscape, looking a little annoyed with the recent changes she experienced. She saw two powerful monsters way more powerful than her, hurting her pride. Bomb watches her from afar, knowing that the red dragon is struggling to settle with the truth. As for Jite, he has returned with another Labubu in his collection. She's still talking about the delicious food while munching on her sweets. Suddenly, she takes a bite out and feels an electric reaction. This macaron knocked the wind out of her, to the point she compares it to the taste of heaven, while she looks adorable as ever. Green welcomes them back, while Gold is ecstatic to see her fellow dragon. Both of them are happy to embrace each other in a long hug, expressing how the two missed each other. Their positive nature is bouncing off each other, as Gold questions how long Green has been living with Jitai. While they're catching up with Red, Jitai retrieves his clone and thanks him for his excellent service. For now, he stationed the guy back to work. Red returns from the balcony, catching his attention. Right away, she appears bummed out by his presence, but Gold is the happiest to see her. Acting like a clingy attention seeker, she surrounds herself by being noisy and asking questions, even teasing Yoram for doing all the bad things like the red dragon she is. Yoram snaps her little yapping beak, calling her a chicklet, and then roaring at her for being annoying. Poor Chicklet got scolded, but it's time for a proper session. Jite gathers all three girls and asks about their ages. The eldest of the three is Bomb, who is 20, Yoram is 16, and finally Gold is just 10. Dragons grow really fast. This is the Chicklet's way of reminding Jite not to treat them like kids. What caught her attention is how everyone seems to be calling Red as Yoram. To fill in the gaps, Bomb explains that it's a name that this guy assigned to everyone, with her being Bomb. Even though the dragons haven't had their ritualistic ceremonies yet, they already possess names because of Jite. Following the trend of seasons, Gold realizes that she's Gyul, sharply catching on to Jite's words. Finally, the necklace around her neck will be Gyul, signifying winter. This egg is from a blue dragon, a polymorph that is meant to be born soon, which is why they need to be careful. The dragons are seriously impressed with this human's knowledge of their species, but he doesn't feed them any crumbs and doesn't explain his backstory. Instead, he emphasizes the only thing they need to care about. He gives them total freedom to enjoy their entertainment here, but they're not allowed to leave or make rash decisions. Basically, he's going to be policing them while they're having fun, so they'll be under constant supervision. Ticked off, Yoram hilariously calls this dude a communist, something that neither of her friends seem to agree with. Bomb steps up as the eldest, agreeing to the term, as long as they can have some fun around each other. She even offers her friends a chance to go outside, because they're going to need some real documentation for them and supplies. The little chicklet is beaming with happiness while Yoram teases that they don't even have money. To that, Jite throws his wallet to Bomb, allowing her to spend and have fun. Being responsible, Bomb asks how much they can spend from his reserves. The cool guy turns around and offers them to spend as much as they like. Anyway, the three troublesome dragons go on a shopping spree. And what do you know? They spend freaking over $40,000 in a single day. When they get home with all the fancy and expensive stuff, our boy is sitting there at the back regretting his decisions. Bomb comes around to return him his wallet, apologizing for overspending. Even though she wanted to purchase some clothes for him, they couldn't do so because of the credit limit for the day. Jite doesn't mind what happened. Gyul grabs his attention, wearing all the pretty outfits to impress him with her looks. She especially bought a smart watch to match him. The proud father praises her, to which she squeals and thanks him. Then there's Yoram, who senses the need to show off her smart watch. She feels uncomfortable presenting her new weapon too, replacing her previous sword which was destroyed against Javier. From the looks of it, Jite praises her for buying a solid weapon. It reassures her that she didn't spend money on wasteful equipment. Little Chicklet comes flying with a bunch of clothes she bought for Red to try on, much to her dismay. As for Bomb, she reveals how Red suffers the most when it comes to revealing her feelings. But in reality, she's also the most grateful. What really confuses our boy is why Bomb didn't seem to buy anything. Actually, she did buy something resting on the table. It's just a potted plant, showing how mature and responsible he is. She likes taking care of plants, but Jite doesn't understand her point. Grasping the pot, Bomb shares it will nurture into a flower. It will become something dear and memorable in her heart forever. Also, it makes her remember about a question she's been meaning to ask. Clearly, their entertainment isn't just basic food and survival. Bomb requests Jite to offer them a better experience of entertainment as long as they're under his supervision. Much to her astonishment, he agrees and whips out an entrance application to Lair Academy, suggesting that they go to school. When the girls return home, Red is annoyed because of the draining interview process. Strangely, they don't find their guardian at home. Suddenly, Gold reveals an uncomforting realization. She's crying like a baby, fearing that she's going to fail while the other two pass. Yoram is frustrated with her crybaby attitude and thinks this chicklet is better quiet with bread around. She calls herself a pig, while Jite pops up from behind like a ghost. She immediately jumps to hug him, fearing that they'll fail her after the interview. However, he assures them neither of them will fail. As for where he went, it turns out Jite was out to get something. He even tells Gyul that it's something she really likes, so the thought of macarons is already destroying her. But here's the twist. It's something way beyond those things too. We enter into a past sequence playing in Jitae's head. He saw how the gold dragon ended up becoming a world-famous pop star. During one of her interviews, she praised the talk show for bringing her yummy food and cooking her favorite dishes. The host asked what she liked eating the most. After giving it some thought, she whips an answer. That answer is revealed to us in the form of fried chicken. All three girls are salivating, but the chicklet is practically dying among them. Yoram is suspicious that she's never had it before. Anyway, our boy distances himself after hearing a buzz on his watch. Bom is a little sad that he's not going to eat alongside them, to which Jitae explains that he's fine on his own. She uses her charm and insists that he eats alongside them, but this guy left anyway by then. We discover Jitae receiving a call from Lair Academy. They have come to contact him regarding an issue that occurred during the interview process. Surprisingly, not even Bom told him about this. What stuns the admission committee is that Bom landed a perfect score in the interview process. She was so excellent in her approach that the rest of the interviewers were stunned. It's also the reason they wanted to offer a chance to be the candidate leading the entrance ceremony, an offer reserved for only her. In fact, the interviewers directly offered her this opportunity, with one small problem. The green-haired girl refused them dead on. Hence the call. They wanted to contact Jitae to try and convince her to take this marvelous opportunity. However, acting as her guardian, this man refuses to bend her to his will. He's just fine abiding by her wishes, and on that note, hangs up the call. Yoram enters the balcony to find him, knowing that the call was about Green. Jitae urges her to refer to her as Bom, even though Yoram finds it a silly and cringe-ass name. She even mocks him, but Jitae doesn't bite the bullet and directly asks her what's up. This leads to a contemplative gaze from Red, who is curious to ask why he's sending them off to the academy. Jitae reveals that it's a good way to help them achieve their goals, but Yoram doesn't really care about school. She only cares about fighting strong people and wonders if there are some at the academy. Our boy confirms that the elites in the world should be joining that academy, and even if they're kids, she's a kid all the same. Pissed off, she faces him, taunting him for a proper fight. The red dragon already knows that he's a monster, but she's dying to know just how powerful he really is. The only way to make her follow him is if he can truly make her respect his overwhelming strength. After thinking for a minute, Jitae rejects this offer and tells her to go back and eat, a response that pisses her off. She calls him boring and throws him the middle finger, acting like a rebellious child. Instead, the little chicklet comes around offering a bite of the yummy chicken to calm her flaming anger. Despite Yoram's refusal, she shoves it in her mouth anyway, instantly making her realize just how amazing it tastes. Let's zoom out and focus on Lair Academy. It's an educational institution located in the Island of Abundance. In other words, Heitling. The academy allows superhumans to be nurtured and brought up, a special place for those born with powers. However, the cadets who participate in the academy all belong to top families of CEOs, royal houses, and even genius talents. This is one main reason the academy often receives criticism for having a system of hierarchy of only the elite. Anyway, Gyul and Bom spend their first day at the academy, finding it to be a really cool experience. Gyul has her fan theory for thinking that their guardian is some kind of trust fund baby too, which is why he allowed them to spend that money. But Bom is mature enough to know it's not the case. The good thing is all three of them got in. The chicklet is just happy to be there spending time with the others. What bothers her is why Yoram and Jitae are absent. Bom remembers that the red dragon is headed to the blue dragon school for her exams, and he went to accompany her on the way. Adults are required to supervise their children into the academy. This is to make sure that bratty and undisciplined superhumans don't start rampaging around. And when it comes to the red dragon, she's a ticking bomb who can act out like a menace. Bom also explains that Urium's test is necessary for her to earn the right to duel other cadets. This fills Gyul up with excitement. She's dying to watch her match, but unfortunately Jitae already declined this idea, much to the little girl's disappointment. Bom reveals that it's going to be strange if they went together as people are already eyeing them down. We arrive at the Blue Dragon School's dueling pavilion. Here, cadets are facing each other in 4 different arenas in each respective match. Our guy is looking max level dripped out while watching calmly from the stands. The examiner urges the supervisors to remain calm as they're giving the other cadets needless anxiety. This person formally introduces himself as the head professor of the Blue Dragon School, Yuan. Each of them are impressed with his dignified looks and polite demeanor, and everyone remembers him as a decorated war hero. But Jitae seems quiet, hinting that there's something hidden in plain sight about this guy. He hears the announcement for Yoram's matchup, who goes up inside the arena hoping for this thing to be worth her time. Facing her is a blonde young lady with a fierce glare. The red dragon is planning to break out of her home if the duel doesn't entertain her. Before the fight, a bunch of other cadets from the audience are placing bets on each side. Some of them are enthralled by their looks, but when it comes to fighting ability, everyone thinks Sofia Vorkova will win. She's had enough experience in Rill after all. It's a special task force of Russia that played a huge role in the Great War. Am I seeing things, or did Truck-kun also isekai ghost from Call of Duty in this world? Anyway, the task force is known for its brutal training methods, beyond torturous for each of its members. Sophia's supervisor is her father, who reminds her of everyone's expectations. He wants her to win badly, but this girl just finds the whole thing embarrassing. Taunting her, our tomboy over here calls her a papa's boy, intentionally trying to rage bait her ass into quitting. But this big talk doesn't seem to faze the woman before her. Sophia instills a frightening glare and threatens to kill her, the kind of reaction that this feisty dragon wants in the first place. The spectators are starting to think both of these girls are straight-up psychos, while our boy oversees calmly. The fighters get into position, with Sophia tending to her fists and Yoram to her blade. The match begins, and in that exact instant, Sophia flashes with a teleporting speed to nail the first hit. Yoram is able to match and block the attack just in time, commending her opponent's speed. Responding in kind, she goes on the offensive for a diagonal slash, forcing Sophia to duck and expose an opening. Using that opening, the excellent combatant slams a clean kick across Urium's side, tearing apart her clothes in the process. Now Urium is really pissed. She only just got these clothes too, but Sophia's not quite done. Placing a formidable step, she fucking teleports again like she's using Ultra Instinct. This time, an epic back-and-forth encounter ensues between the two fighters, with Urium mostly going on the defensive to avoid her attacks. Using the cage to her advantage, the red dragon leaps against it for pushback momentum. The two fighters approach each other in a head-on confrontation, with Yoram looking as beastly as ever. Her fearless assault overwhelms Sophia, who is forced to block her swing with a huge cost. Her forearm bones literally freaking shatter, causing her a great deal of pain. The red dragon knows she's got the upper hand here, so she flash steps at that very same moment to teleport behind, aiming to finish the fight from a backward swing. Yoram reminds her prey that she was only toying with her so far, and saying so, she slams such a heavy fist that it knocks her straight towards the cage. Sophia coughs out blood, nearly blacking out from the impact. The match is over with Red towering over her opponent with her sword. Adopting the trash talk of a typical Valorant lobby, Urium basically pulls a GG easy move on her. She goes away thinking very little of the so-called elites in the academy, believing they're just a bunch of losers. The spectators are frightened, seeing how badly Sophia got fucked up right before their damn eyes. As for her opponent, Yoram didn't even suffer a scratch. She just played with her food all this time. Some of them think Sophia's weak. Others believe the redhead is too strong. Some are even starting to believe Sophia's just a Nepo baby who probably isn't even a real member. The crowd's reaction is starting to bother her. Luckily, the nurse has healed her immediate injuries, but Sophia's arms are going to need some work because they're a mess. Frustrated, the girl clutches her fist, stating that she's just fine. Her father knows what he has to do, and tells her that she did her best. It's not the outcome they expected, but she could never beat her opponent in her state. He reminds her that he's not even disappointed, but this crazy girl only seems to be eyeing down his knife. While he's yapping on and on about a motivational speech, the nurse informs him that his daughter is headed in the opposite direction. Sophia psychotically thinks the match isn't over even after her announced defeat, and this time she imbues the weapon with some of her mana. Yoram is about to leave when she calls her out, before blitzing full speed and stabbing her right in the back. Watching this shitty move, GT appears unfazed. The red dragon was attacked out of the blue, while Sophia exhibits full murderous intent to kill her. This is a great upset that stuns not only the spectators but also Wei Yuan, the head professor. Jite appears visibly pissed the fuck off. He watches Sophia drive a blade all up in her back, until eventually both crash outside the arena. By the way, it went all the way through to Urium's side. Now she's genuinely starting to think about burying this bitch. But that's not all. Sophia goes on the offensive again with full bloodlust, aiming to punch her down. Even in her condition, Yoram dodges the hit, before grabbing her stupid hair and pulling the bitch back. This time, Yoram's in the mood to kill her. In goes the first hit, knocking the Brian cells out of the crazy blonde. Then it turns into a massacre. Yoram continues to hit her face, drawing blood with each hit as the spectators watch in fear. Her last hit throws her into the stands. Now Sophia looks wasted as hell. Girl got slimed out like Yamcha, but the red dragon isn't finished just yet. She pulls the blade out of her back and marches forth with an even more terrifying bloodlust, emphasizing that she's going to return the favor. But the moment she's about to stab Sophia, her brooding father steps in to drive her away. Yoram demands to be let go, and only then does this lenient head professor decide to use a mage to cast an overlap space. Imagine waiting for so damn long instead of stepping in. Head professor my ass. The mages quickly cast up a barrier space, encircling Yoram and Sophia's father inside. She drops the weapon, roaring at their injustice for only targeting her. In reality, Yoram's right. Sophia's the one who wanted to kill her and even stabbed her first. But her father argues that she could have simply knocked her out, especially with how strong Urium truly is. She could have just done that. The redhead is royally pissed that instead of taking responsibility over his daughter, he's out here giving her a speech. Woo-Yuan enters the space begging for them to be calm. First off, she tells Yoram that they've sent someone to fetch her guardian to get her immediate treatment. Even if he's the head professor, Yoram screams at him for treating this situation far too calmly. Woo-Yuan gives her credit and understands what went down, but his priority is to stop her from creating a bigger mess. The problem is, if Yoram goes above and beyond, she'll end up affecting her entire family in the process. This sharp-witted professor threateningly hints that the entire Yu family could lose its position at the academy, instantly diffusing Yoram's anger. Because the only thing she cares about in the world is her family, and it would genuinely make her upset. Woo-Yuan is in the middle of his condescending speech when Jitai arrives inside as her guardian. He calls out Woo-Yuan's bullshit for trying to corner an injured child, and recommends that the adults talk outside. I don't know about you guys, but every time this man does something, he always earns my respect. Both of them are speechless, with Yoram showing a hint of frustration and disappointment. In the next scene, we arrive in Woo-Yuan's office. There's Jitai, and seated in front of Sophia's father as the head professor personally serves them tea. Now, the head professor's initial impression of this guy is pretty suspicious. First of all, the only people who can casually step inside the overlap space are super strong, high-level rankers. But this guy's also a mystery. There's no mention of him in any records, so Woo-Yuan is interested in investigating his identity at a later point. The discussion starts with both parties appearing visibly at odds with each other. Woo-Yuan apologizes for what happened. Sophia looks like a blood pulp. Our favorite tomboy sure gave her a new do-over. Yoram has been discharged after recovering, so Woo-Yuan believes there's no need to make a bigger deal out of this. They will inevitably run into each other again at the Blue Dragon School, so it's best that they make amends now. Sophia's father immediately offers an apology on behalf of his daughter. Mikhailov responsibly states how immature his daughter is to let her emotions get the best of her. Now, any ordinary protagonist would accept this apology, but this guy? He's the GOAT, so he straight up says fuck you to his apology, causing Mikhailov to stand up in shock. Jitai clarifies that Sophia's father wasn't even involved in the incident, so there's no point for him to say anything. But Mikhailov urges them to negotiate, to let this situation slide, to take things easy, even boasting his status as a member of an elite force. Jitai calmly fires back, emphasizing that they're not in the same position at all, and now he's starting to wonder if this is how these battle-hardened boneheads apologize to others. Mikhailov screams at him for implying that he should bring Sophia for an apology. Any ordinary guy would take pity, but this man says a straight-up yes, not giving a flying fuck about her injuries. Woo-Yuan realizes that the situation is still getting out of control, but Jitai shares that he's here for a different reason. He's curious why Mikhailov refused to step in to stop his daughter the moment he watched her run up to Yoram with a knife. The Russian counters that it was just too sudden, but Jitai calls it a bullshit excuse. He wonders if Sophia's father is embarrassed for his lack of responsibility, when he clearly could have intervened to stop everything. Mikhailov chucks the diplomatic route out the window and grabs Jitai's collar, threatening Jitai not to make an enemy out of Ril as a whole. This big guy has the gall to call Jitai a member of a nameless family, not knowing that a blade is sitting next to his neck. The musclehead realizes he's been outplayed, and he didn't even comprehend how this guy speed blitzed to catch his knife just now. Jitai casually points out how loose this guy's knife sheath is, which is how a literal child was able to grab it without him noticing. But more than his words, Mikhailov can't fathom how this guy managed to steal his blade. Offering one simple reminder, a warning to remember, a real threat, the Grim Reaper blitzes behind him, hoping for Mikhailov to avoid empty alleyways. Oh, and he also smashed his blade on the table in that same second, instilling the fear of death in this guy. Jitai finishes off on that note, leaving while impressing the likes of Woo-Yuan in a single meeting. As he leaves, he catches the redhead frowning. He asks about her health, to which she responds she's doing fine. It's tough to kill red dragons, so her durability helped a lot. Jitai is happy to hear that, but something is bothering her after reflecting on her actions. She wants to know if she made the wrong move, feeling the guilt of the situation on her shoulders. It makes her feel bad, and even pushes her to be the bigger person instead next time. Much to her shock, Jitai emphasizes that she did exceptionally well. In fact, he even advises her to kill her next time without any witnesses. Bro is an even bigger psychopath than his own little dragon daughters. He leaves on that note, gaining her admiration. She's hoping he doesn't scold her if it actually happens later down the line. As they're walking in the hall, Jitai instructs his problem daughter to pack her stuff the moment she arrives home. She's curious where they're headed, but he explains that she's going to be living in the dorm rooms from now on. She understands that part, knowing that the little chicklet is going to be happy with this outcome. As they're leaving, the head professor calls them for a talk. He wants to speak with Jitai in private, but this man's short on time and in no mood to communicate. The head professor understands this, but urges for a matter concerning Yoram's future. Honestly, not even she wants to be around this guy anymore. Woo-Yuan patiently clarifies that he has a great opportunity for her. The thing is, Woo Yuan officially wants her to be the freshman representative for the Blue Dragon School. He paints the picture of her decorated as the face of the academy, awarded a scholarship and other items, as well as doing interviews in the media. Jitae questions the suddenness of such an offer, because that's a lot of benefits for one to provide. The head professor assures that it's doable, as he's good friends with the vice principal Ma Namjoon. As his guardian, the professor urges Jitae to consider this opportunity carefully, as he won't find something like this anywhere else. Now, as for his claims for being friends with Namjoon, it only makes sense. The real ugly truth is that both this professor and that bastard Namjoon are demonic humans hiding in plain sight. Let's discuss demonic humans and their nature. These guys are the opposites of superhumans who carry blessings. Instead, they get their strength from the void, causing them to indulge in blind rage and mindless killing intent towards other humans. They also make use of other sins like lust, and it's because of demonic humans alone that the world experienced a great tragedy. Jitae happens to be part of that tragedy, because on his first 2 regression cycles, he lost something precious to them. This is the reason Jitae personally harbors so much hatred against this fucker that he wouldn't mind spilling his blood. It's his sheer self-control to endure standing around him for as long as he has, because deep down, he hopes to crush Woo Yuan's resolve before killing him. Back to the primary discussion, the guardian asks his child for her opinion of the offer. The professor understands this and lets the child decide everything. Again, he promises Yoram proper benefits, assuring a new look for the school. He wants her to represent that change at the end of the year event. Woo Yuan is out here doing his best to make this girl simp and bend the knee, but the redhead straight up declines. Bro is seriously baffled because this is like rejecting an offer from Harvard. Yoram confirms that she doesn't care about the offer and insists they go home to pack her stuff. Baffled, Woo Yuan inquires why she even bothered coming for the interview process. The redhead shares that at first she was in her bed, but then she felt bored and decided to fight someone. That's it. That's the only reason she's here. Her response is such a trolling moment that even the demonic human is out here contemplating ending his existence. Suddenly, his eyes glance towards the window, and he urges Uriam to take a look down there. There are a bunch of reporters lined up outside, waiting to hear Woo Yuan's opinion on the matter. Basically, he's going to be the one to decide her fate. His words will be the official picture in front of the world, and her life will be governed by them. It's an actual threat, but this girl isn't buying into that rage bait attempt either. She just says K-bye and leaves with her papa. Watching them humiliate him like this annoys the head professor, who hopes that they don't regret their decision. As for the reporters, Yoram comes outside and is instantly swarmed by the horde. All of them are begging to hear her opinion on the fight and her feelings against her opponent. With so many cameras flashing her face, Yoram is overwhelmed, while our boy is mogging everyone with that face card at the back. One reporter reveals that Uriam's interview is going viral on social media, which makes them all wonder if she intentionally went ballistic to gain the attention of the world. They're all begging for answers, flooding her with more and more questions. Acting as her guardian, knowing that she's about to crack, Jitae urges the reporters to leave an injured child alone. But Yoram is in the mood to really set the tone and give them what they want. She grabs the microphone, bringing it close to her mouth before making a troll face and roaring sex on the big screen. In the next scene, we arrive in the dorm rooms at Lair Academy. The little chicklet is flooded with happiness. They've been practically offered a mansion for a place. As the youngest and naughtiest child, Gawel races to find a room for herself. She pops one open and absolutely loves the comforting space. This room alone looks like a rich Airbnb apartment. Gawel dances around all over the place, loving the new setting and marking it as her territory. But her big sister comes up quickly and argues that she's gonna steal this room instead. The little chicklet is frustrated because she found it first, and this isn't even the biggest room. Ultimately, Gawel gives up and offers her big sister the living space, much to her disappointment. As for the final and eldest dragon, she's busy nurturing the blue egg that has yet to hatch. She even welcomes the little one as a baby, while Jitae questions her intentions of spraying water. Bomb explains that it's because blue dragons adore water, and near the hatching stage, the polymorph becomes a proper egg. Aside from that, Bomb points out how the academy is flooded with Yoram's viral moment. Her interview is live on YouTube, and well, the commenters are eating it up. Jitae plays the recording where she says the naughty word, forcing Bomb to cover the little one's ears. Meanwhile, Yoram has no idea why it's such a big deal. It's a natural process after all. The little chicklet, on the other hand, has no idea what it even is. Her big sister is curious if Gawel really wants to know. This is her chance to educate the little one about the birds and the bees for once. At that point, the gold dragon realizes what's about to happen. Flustered, she refuses the explanation, believing there's no need for her to know so much. But this trolling red dragon messes with her head even more. She's happy to talk about all the details of the process, to the point she even grabs Gawel's arms to stop her from covering her ears. The poor girl whines and begs for Jitae to intervene, while he watches them blankly. The following morning, Yoram is snoozed out living her best dream. Gayul dashes upstairs, slamming the door open to wake her up to a huge problem. The redhead can't even get up because she stayed up all night. When Gayul asks what she was doing, the ultimate troll casually responded she was busy watching Korn. Absolute cinema. They head downstairs to attend an immediate affair. Yoram thinks it's a joke at first, but then she sees that everyone is already here. Bomb introduces Yoram to Gyul's hatching phase. She's shaking and cracks are starting to appear, marking a momentous moment for their family. It's been a long time since Jitae saw a new life birthing before his eyes. His previous experience wasn't as pleasant and calm as this one. In the midst of the ravaged world, a woman begged them to save her child. Jitae's subordinate thought it was just too late to save them, because the child ended up dying the moment it was born. Unfortunately, society had collapsed and there weren't any hospitals. There wasn't a facility in the world that could help save it in time. This memory remains to be one of the most disturbing experiences for Jitae, and at some point, he thought he would never relive them again, making him question why now. Yoram is the first to notice a tiny blue limb emerge from the egg. The little dragon pops out looking like the cutest marshmallow in the entire world. Bomb congratulates Gayul on her hatching and cleans her up shortly after. Jitae notices her calm reaction handling the youngling, so he asks where she got the experience. Turns out their mother used to do the same, and she offers him to hold the baby too, only for our guy to refuse. Gayul, on the other hand, is dying to hold the little one, so Bomb hands it over, urging her to treat the little one with care. Gold and Blue embrace each other warmly, enjoying each second. Using this as an opportunity to get back at Yoram, Gayul states that the red dragon secretly wants to hold her too. She tosses the little one straight into her arms, forcing Yoram to lock in and catch the baby. In Yoram's arms, the little one melts into sleep, looking straight up adorable. Even the troll admits that the baby's cute, and urges their guardian to give it a shot, or else the baby will be sad. The redhead tomboy rage baits this man by calling him a wannabe nonchalant guy. So to force him to catch it, she has the ridiculous freaking plan of throwing the damn baby. Even Gayul is worried that this psycho idiot might throw a newborn. Here, Yoram exposes her mission, one that she decided upon the moment she stepped into her new house. That mission is to do her absolute best to make this guy break his composure and panic. And because of that stupid plan, she tries to throw Gyul. But before she can even look at him, Bro pops up behind her and grabs the baby. And he did all of that without even breaking composure? Dude is nonchalant pro max. Bomb thinks this is a good opportunity for Jitae to pet the baby dragon now that he's already got her. Following her words, he places his fingers on top of the baby's head, questioning if he's doing it right. Just 2 light fingers tapping its head. The moment is so rare that Gayul snaps a photo through her smartwatch, knowing she'll never get another chance. Speaking of photos, Bomb recommends they take one together with a flower. She's going to be using this flower for the photo, which confuses both her little sisters. That damn flower is hilariously tucked behind Jitae's ear to match Gyul's blue one. They look so adorable like this. The other 3 dragons are entertained by the moment. Jitae is a little annoyed and urges them to hurry up for the picture. Yoram tries to play the part of a brat who finds it too cringy to take pictures. In the end, she agrees, and Gayul's the one who counts down the selfie timer. The picture is honestly pretty nice, showing Jitae being himself, and the rest of the sisters displaying each of their personalities. After the photo session, the little Gyul is fed properly for the next stage. Jitae asks Bomb what she intends to do. Apparently, her goal is to help Gyul learn how to polymorph using magic transfer. Let's discuss magic transfer. It's a process involving the flow of mana between 2 individuals, an easier way to teach someone a spell. Typically, the person being taught doesn't have to give up a prize, but it does affect the lifespan of the person who is transferring the technique. That's why Jitae is cautious if she should really risk her lifespan for this. Unfortunately, they can't have Gyul staying like this forever. Back at their place, Yoram, Gayul, and her learn to polymorph together, contrasting the blue dragon's experience, who hasn't learned a thing. Dragons grow really fast, which is why she wants the little one to experience true joy before she gets all big. Going with her plans, Jitae tells her that he's willing to help if necessary, and she's surprised that he's knowledgeable about magic too. Aside from the magic transfer, she has a personal request of her own. Bomb wishes for him to stay by her side when she initiates the transfer process. He agrees with her request, but she's a teasing little thing and wants him to come closer to her. Jitae thinks it's not needed for him to sit literally inches away from her, but she thinks it's absolutely necessary in case she falls and drops the little one. I mean, the girl is deadass saying this to someone who has been speed blitzing the shit out of every opponent so far. Bomb's adorable mountain of excuses end up wearing off Jitae's armor, and ultimately, he resigns. Bro is actually sitting next to her now, their shoulders touching each other. She admits how hard his muscles feel, but suddenly changes the topic when he confronts her. This girl is 100% a simp for him. Lost in her feelings, she initiates the transfer process with Gayul, connecting their bodies. Days passed. Bomb is out here knocked out of energy as the process reaches its completion. She thanks him for his contribution and intends to go take her rest now, leaving Jitae to deal with feeding the baby and taking care of her. In the end, her fatigue gets the better of her as she slips and falls. But not to worry, Prince Charming is there to catch her in his arms. He's fine with taking her to her room, causing Bomb to get even more flustered. She thinks it's a little embarrassing for her to be held like this, while Jitae responds that she's still making jokes. He reminds her that she's quite light, which is something she uses to tease him for being so sweet. After putting her to bed, Jitae leaves her room, closing it shut. Suddenly, he senses something from Gyeol and realizes that the process has already begun. When he arrives back in the room, there's no baby dragon but a tiny blue-haired girl. This little girl is just as cute as her draconic self. It's her first time transforming and this guy has no idea how to deal with this thing. Jitae greets her with a simple hello, marking their first conversation. In the next scene, we return to the police station where his clone is busy doing his shift. Turns out that his clone is easily hunting down superhuman criminals all by himself, bringing their department a good name. His captain is happy to treat both of them to a meal as it's a nice occasion. Worry reminds this fool that he's about to pay with the company's card, causing him to burst into laughter. Like always, our nonchalant king declines the offer, believing he's got some plans of his own. His friends don't have any clue why he leaves so early, always going back home after work. They're starting to wonder if he's got a secret girlfriend, but he denies any such possibility. Saying so, he leaves with his friends calling out to him. Next, we witness an interaction between a black-haired girl and Jitae. The clone perfectly mimics the girl's appearance, but it's important to discuss how Jitae obtained the shadow in the first place. In the past, this skill belonged to the Grand Duke of the Demon World, who used it to increase his influence throughout the kingdom. But right after slaughtering the Grand Duke, Jitae became the new wielder of the skill. Now his clone can perfectly mimic anyone based on a glance. Since he's come to meet his master in a public place, he needed a different appearance. Anyway, even the clone is shocked to see a damn baby strapped to his master's chest. Bro actually got her a haircut just now. The people around them are calling the two of them a couple for having such a cute baby. The clone even offers to hold the little one on his master's insistence, but the little baby Gyeol seems to be disgusted at the suggestion, confusing the clone. Jitae is fine with holding her, and even shows how this tiny murder machine can walk by herself. The clone is really curious why he decided to bring this child out in the open, especially when the three dragons are at home. The problem is, Bomb is out cold on bed rest after overexertion of her body. The other two are so irresponsible that it's just impossible to rely on them. Jitae asks about the clone's purpose of coming here, and when it plays dumb, he calls it out instantly. He can sense even the faintest emotion within his shadow, so he knows there's something bothering it. The shadow expresses her genuine role in this mission. With its previous owners, it could never experience a normal life like this. They wanted to use the shadow for critical missions, like by means of assassination, or even sending them to distant locations where their authority must be shown. But now that Jitae is adjusting to his normal life, his shadow can't seem to understand how to blend in. It even apologizes for speaking its feelings, though our boy understands its feelings well. The shadow is a being with its own mind, but his master does have an important mission in the future. Until then, he wants the clone to keep on doing as it is. Also, he wants it to go and experience a drink with his co-workers on their earlier suggestion. After all, there will come a time where the shadow won't be able to see them anymore. With those instructions, it walks back to the office. Jitae is suddenly drawn to a mother who freshly bought her daughter a teddy bear as a gift. That little panda catches little Gyeol's attraction. It's clear that she wants it too, and Papa over here can see that. He asks if she wants one of her own, and pulls a teddy bear from his city-wide inventory realm. Unfortunately, it looks different from the panda, but he hands it over to her still. Gyeol falls in love at first sight, adoring her gift. He even asks if she likes it, to which she puts the teddy down and starts walking up to the adult. Jitae picks her up, wondering if this is her way of asking for more. In reality, she grabs her face and actually puts her head against his own. It might be the cutest moment of this story so far. Our boy is dumbstruck by her intentions and wonders what's the play here. It's an action resembling Bomb's magic transference technique. Jitae quickly catches on that dragons might use this technique to display affection. All his traumatic memories of his 6 tragic lifetimes come surfacing back in his mind. He faced demons and a horde of dragons, losing countless things in the process. He even spun the axis of regression one more time to gamble it all again. It seems that Gyeol must have tapped into his brain for a moment, and to her shock, Jitae is seen sincerely smiling for the first time. Holding hands, they walk around the park. Jitae looks up at the sky, mumbling that someone's already on her way. Little chicklet Gyeol finds them in the park and greets the cute Gyeol in her human form. When both of them tap heads for that Apple airdrop connection, Gyeol learns how happy the little one feels after receiving a gift from Jitae. Apparently dragons can read each other's minds quite well, relaying their thoughts to each other the moment they touch their skin. Desiring the feeling of skin is a way of showing affection for them, which is why the cute marshmallow did that to Jitae. It's something he never learned before. Suddenly he notices something behind her. Gyeol realizes he's talking about her case and whips out her fancy new acoustic guitar. This is her way of showing her feelings without having to touch skin to skin with others. She even feels like a fancy musician, perfectly fitting her personality. The gold dragon wants to do her best, but this same guitar brings Jitae some really sad memories. He once found her with the guitar shattered, and her reduced to a life of self-sabotage and total abuse. She looked miserable back then, so he fears what's going to happen next. This time, Jitae reminds her not to get too obsessive. The gold dragon is annoyed, but he thinks it's best for her to keep things in moderation, despite her feelings. Jitae then asks about Bomb to check on her condition, and learns that she's still knocked out asleep because of the fever. That part can't be helped much because of the transference procedure. As for Yoram, he asks about her too, and learns that this maniac is busy being a loser at home watching dramas all by herself. It's actually fascinating that she's found an interest beyond mindless fighting for once. It's a good development in our boy's eyes at least. They end up arriving back home. Almost instantly, he senses a sinister presence. The gold dragon is going to check up on Bomb, but he stops her, pulling her back before bluntly ordering Gaul to secure her little sister in her room. And until he says so, he doesn't want her to come out. He doesn't even explain why, adopting a terrifying tone. The gold dragon agrees and takes the blue one away. Now that he's alone, he opens up Bomb's door. Here, he finds 4 different entities lingering around her. These people are fiercely pissed that Bomb has been reduced to such a condition. Their first assumption is to meet Jitae with anger, questioning if he's the one responsible. Let's understand what these creatures are. Dragons have servants of their own, allowing them to control a handful of monsters and humans through their magic. They would then turn these servants into loyal knights and slaves to protect their home. Even among such guardians, there are elite bodyguards who have been serving the hatchlings. From the looks of things, Jitae realizes that they used sleep magic on her. The guardian roars at him, demanding an answer. Jitae doesn't give a damn and believes they should at least introduce themselves first, basically treating them like a joke. The guardian decides to demonstrate the lowly human their terror, believing that only the strong should be the ones to ask questions, using a move called Dark Clarity to cage Jitae in one move. From a glance, he can tell that they used a solid high-level protection barrier already. The guardian offers a final warning, questioning what the human has done to the green dragon, demanding an answer. Jitae calmly replies with the news of the blue dragon's hatching, and because of that, she spent her own energy in the magic transfer process. Satisfied, the guardian then asks about the human's identity. Jitae sarcastically calls himself a guardian, which is an ironic joke in front of the real guardians. They wonder if he's even capable of protecting them, to which Jitae confirms. His only question is why and how they got here so quickly. To his knowledge, these guys should be entrapped in a dimension. Sensing that he's far too dangerous for a human, they pick up their weapons to face him in battle, introducing themselves as the Guardians and the keepers of the history of a causality. They know that he's taking care of the children instead, but from their perspective, Jitae must be purged because he's bound to create trouble in the future. Our boy offers them an opportunity to talk it out, but they're already jumping his ass from every direction. The Guardian strikes at our boy, but he swiftly manages to dodge. The Guardian cannot believe that a mere human was able to block his Sword of Stallion that easily. Then Jitae attacks him, and the Guardian gets taken down with just one strike, which is shameful for him. The other Guardian assures that he will end this human, but the one who took the blow tries to warn him that the human is far stronger than they anticipated, and no matter what they try, they will end up losing against him. After a while, our boy defeats all the Guardians. The main Guardian realizes that he had felt something off about this human, someone who was watching over them while staying with the young dragons, and he should have known it when he started having doubts. Soon enough, he realizes that this man is a transcendent being who cannot be messed with. Our boy stands over the Guardian, reminding him that they should have just talked. Then he asks how they all survived if there was a problem with the dimension. The Guardian reveals that it was because of a twist in the dimension, and their lord opened the dimension that connected the nest to this world. Unbeknownst to them, the dimension twisted, and they were flung out of the dimensional boundary. He further explains that he doesn't know much about it, but their lord once mentioned something called the Horizon of Providence. What he does know is that the twist in the dimension occurs because of the power derived from the Horizon of Providence, and other dimensions started twisting around it. This sounds strange to our guy because in the previous regressions there were no such explanations, and he had never heard these concepts before. But now that he thinks about it, this run is noticeably different from the previous ones. This is also the first time the Green Dragon Guardians have shown up looking for him. He then asks what the Horizon of Providence has to do with them managing to get here, wondering if that concept helped them. They answer that the will beyond that concept guided them in a certain direction, and when he followed that path with the other Guardians, he found the place where the hatchlings were. Our boy then makes the Guardian look into his eyes and uses his skill, Scales of Balance Eye, which tells him whether the Guardian is truthful or lying. It turns out he has been telling the truth. He is relieved since he has dealt with everything that could pose a threat to the world, and he has also inspected the dimensions multiple times, which makes him worried about why something unknown is appearing again. The Guardian speaks again about the will beyond the horizon, which sounded very dissatisfied, likely because he has a core created from the green dragon's power. Suddenly, our boy pulls open his shirt and sees the grand clock, which identifies the twisted flow of time and is known as an authority. He takes it in his hands, thinking that it has always remained still, except when he regressed, yet now it has started to interfere. But he cannot do much about it except wait. The Guardian wonders what he should do now, to which our boy says that since he's already watching over all the dragons, he doesn't really have a job for him. So instead, he lets them go, as long as they don't cause trouble. As they begin to leave, one of the Guardians says he cannot leave, and he gets slapped by our boy. No matter how much our boy tries to make him leave, his answer doesn't change. His companions tell our boy that he is a foolish guy who cannot accept freedom even when it is handed to him. Our boy looks at him and realizes that this person is fit to be a guardian. He raises his sword and kills all the other guardians except the one who refused to leave. The Guardian wonders if our hero was testing them, to which our boy replies that he simply found him unusual. Why would he want to protect the green dragons that much? The Guardian responds that he has not lost his loyalty to the green dragons. When our boy tries to explain that he will take care of the green dragons, the Guardian refuses to listen. So, our boy gives him a role he can accept right now, since he is not strong enough to be their guardian. He then introduces the girls to the janitor he just hired. As the janitor is washing the dishes, he is also enjoying his time. When he was assigned that position, he was confused because being a janitor doesn't have anything to do with protecting dragons, which makes it hard for him to understand. He was told that Jite is strong enough to protect the dragons alone, and that he went out of his way to give him a job as a janitor, so if he doesn't work properly, he will make sure he meets his end. The janitor is now wondering how he ended up being a dishwasher. As he's washing the dishes, Yubom pops up and asks if he is the guardian from Askalifa. He is surprised to see her because she was not doing well before, but she assures him that she is feeling fine. She then tells him that the apron looks good on him, and that she is looking forward to working with him, which makes him blush. After hearing her kind words, he is motivated to take care of her even if he has to sweep or clean the toilets so that she doesn't have to do any work around the house. He accidentally ends up breaking a dish in his hand, and it turns out it was an expensive one. On the other hand, Gyul is getting ready with the help of Gael and Yubom. They both find her clothes very cute, and the little girl approves of them as she can't stop smiling since she wore the clothes. Yubom turns to the janitor, wondering which clothes he likes on her. While mopping the floor, he agrees that he likes all of them, as they suit Gyul perfectly. Jite is sitting on the sofa observing all of them. He looks at Gyul a little more closely and notices her fingers look bruised, and instantly realizes that she is still playing the guitar, which makes her worried, and she tries to hide her fingers. She tries to explain that she only plays it in her free time. Yubom tries to calm him down and tells him not to be so harsh with her, and Jite explains that he didn't mean it harshly. He changes the topic and says he hasn't seen Uriam for a while, wondering if she is still in her room watching dramas. The janitor explains that he went to clean her room, but he was sent away. He is a little worried for her because she didn't look too great. It could be that she hasn't slept at all, so Jite decides to pay her a visit. In her room, when he visits her, Uriam wonders why he came to check if she is alive or not. He looks at the TV and sees she is watching a show, and she asks if he has watched it before. He denies it. She didn't tell him that the show has 7 seasons. The storyline is really crappy, and the historical accuracy is not accurate either. He simply tells her to stop watching it and asks her to come out because he has to tell her something. After she comes out, he says that they are going to deep clean the house today, making the 3 ladies wonder why he made this decision so suddenly. He explains that even if they're not humans, they still have to live like humans while they are on Earth, pointing especially at Uriam and Gael, as they are the messiest. Hearing that, Gael yells at him, wondering why he entered her room without permission, as her mother told her that dragons cannot enter another dragon's lair without permission. He mocks her by saying that her mother should have also taught her how to clean her room, and she becomes annoyed. He then tells them not to worry about the living room and kitchen, and that they should only clean their own rooms for now. Yoram gets mad because they have a janitor for a reason, so why should they clean up? While saying this, she picks out a booger. Gael is grossed out by her, and Yoram sticks her booger on her and walks out, saying Gael should clean her room if she hates dirty stuff like that. Before she walks out, she tells the janitor to clean her room and that she's going to the gym, and when she comes back, she will be inspecting it. Yubom gets up to get groceries for dinner since she already cleaned her room yesterday. Jite is worried thinking about the dinner that Yubom will make. She asks him if there is a specific dish he wants, but he simply tells her to have a safe trip to the grocery store. Meanwhile, the janitor walks into Yoram's room, and it is a big mess. He wonders how, even without a nose, he can still sense a weird stench, like the demon world, but worse. He picks up a stash of cigarettes and realizes that this is the reason she wasn't looking too good earlier, and maybe she is trying to train her poison resistance through the cigarettes. As he begins picking up the trash, Maxime shows up and tells him that the cans and plastic have to be sorted separately before being disposed of. Maxime wonders if the janitor doesn't even know the basics of cleaning, questioning whether there is no concept of recycling in Aniclimax. This statement makes the janitor think he can feel demon world energy from him, wondering if that is a clone. Maxime strictly tells him to hurry up. Suddenly Jite shows up, asking what they are doing. Maxime turns to him, saying the janitor wasn't doing his job right, so he was guiding him. The guy in the coat is Maxim from the demon world, who is used to humiliating those without power when they act up. Jitai then tells both of them to clean up because it would be too tough a job for the janitor to handle alone. Meanwhile, the girls are cleaning their rooms. After they're done, Maxim is given a map of Moscow, Russia, and he is told to go there because a demonic human organization named Invisibility is researching a transcendent-type demonic human there. He tells him to wrap up his work in a week and then head to Russia. Once he arrives, he needs to find the commander-class transcendent demonic human named Prototype X, and Maxim agrees to the decision. Just then, U-Bomb returns home with a lot of groceries, since she has to feed a lot of people and cook a lot more food. When Maxim begins to leave since U-Bomb is back, Jite stops him, saying that he needs to swap clothes with him. A while later, the food is ready and the girls are enjoying it. Gale wishes the janitor could eat with them, but Urium says he doesn't even have a mouth to eat. Meanwhile, Jite is dreading the sight of the food that has been served to him. Maxime is surrounded by a lot of dead men on the ground, beaten up to death. A man who is pinned to the wall by his hands is yelling at him, calling him slurs and a lowly human. He yells that he would be begging on his knees if he knew who was behind him, backing him up. Maxime cuts his arms off. He knows him well and talks about a professor of the Blue Dragon School, Wei Yuan, or should he mention him as a demonic human affiliated with Invisibility. He asks him if he is plotting something and, if so, what his plan is. He also tells him that his lies won't work on him, so he needs to speak the truth right away, as he uses his skill called Scales of Balance Eye. The man begins to speak, saying that he doesn't know much detail, but in 3 months, if he succeeds, he can also be chosen. Maxime doesn't understand and wonders if he is talking about seats. The seats are what they call the 4 chosen demonic humans of the organization, Invisibility. Usually, demonic humans work in decentralized structures, but those who rise to the seats can have their own legions. They end up gaining power equal to those of the disaster level, which is the highest rank among demonic humans. Maxime finds it strange, since Wei Yuan never wanted to be in the seats in any of the previous runs, and he shouldn't have any strength to plan anything during this time. He then spots a grand clock, which reads the malice sent from beyond the horizon of providence, and searches for a being who has deviated from the world timeline, and its target is the demonic human Wei Yuan. Because someone from outside the world timeline, who harbors discontent toward regression, has interfered, Wei Yuan exists with the finest elements of the past runs and has deviated from the flow of repeated regressions. He realizes it can interfere with everything related to him remotely, because it was for the Guardians, and now it's Wei Yuan. The guy with the chopped arms says that if he spares him, he can get more information for him because he has a sick mother waiting at home. He begs that he won't betray him, but before he completes his sentence, Maxim beheads him. Maxime points at his eyes, saying that the lies wouldn't have worked on him anyway. The guy still would have died even if he was telling the truth. Then he snaps his fingers and causes destruction throughout the entire place. Back to our main guy. He's walking outside, wondering that if the plan would have allowed Wei Yuan to rise to the seats, it must be on a huge scale. This leads him to think it might be related to the lair. He remembers what Wei Yuan said to Yoram about the end-of-year event. He realizes it must have something to do with his plan. His attention then turns to a lady stopping by Gyul, calling the baby cute and saying she has never seen such a cute baby before. The 2 ladies are going crazy over the little girl. Our boy steps in and strictly asks if the ladies have something to do with the child, and both of the women get scared. He then sits with Yu-Bom, who wonders why she hadn't seen him the whole day and asks where he had been. He tells her he had some business to complete and asks what she was doing there with the baby. She admits that she was unable to spend much time with her since she had been sick, and with school starting, she figured she wouldn't have much time to spend with her in the future either. After a moment of silence, U-Bomb thinks that sitting in a park like that makes them look like a family, which astonishes him. She continues, saying that it looks like the little girl is his daughter and she is the mother, which makes them a couple, but both of them stay silent. She begins to giggle and assures him she was just kidding and he doesn't have to get serious. He brushes it off, saying that if she's going to act strange, they should just go home. Then they leave to head back home, with the little baby in his arms. School has begun, and the girls are excited to take some classes together. U-Bomb is going to take superhuman studies, literature, magic studies, and sociology. Then she wonders why Gale always has a piece of toast in her mouth when she already ate breakfast at home. Gale reveals that her mother told her that if she bumps into someone with a piece of toast in her mouth, that person will be destined to be her partner, and this is how she will meet her partner one day. Suddenly, she bumps into Yoram, and Yoram begins to tease Gale that now she will be her destined partner, which makes her cry because she's clearly no homo. Yoram flirts with her, saying that she saw some American drama and the girls do all kinds of things with each other while she steals the toast. Then Yoram wonders where Jitai is, since he promised he would come to their class observation. Yubom clarifies that he is only going to visit the academic affairs office to check on some matters. Instantly, Yoram says that he's usually not home, which makes her think he might be seeing a girl or something, sucking the soul out of Yubom. Then they see some people who look like reporters, maybe there to capture some noteworthy freshmen. When the reporters see the girls entering, they instantly turn toward them, thinking they are the students who beat up Sophia, specifically their redhead baddie. The lights and reporters surround her quickly, and she gets overstimulated. In the next moment, she yells loudly for them to shut up. Then she decides to take them on one by one, since the answers she gave last time weren't enough for them. Back at home, Jitae orders the janitor to take care of the child because the kids are at school and he won't be home either. After he leaves, the janitor thinks that he did not expect to be assigned a task harder than cleaning, since he has never taken care of a child in his life before. He then talks to Gyul, asking her to stop waiting and rest somewhere she feels comfortable because the ladies and the homeowner will only return in the evening. After she hears him, she goes back to playing, which makes him really awkward. He decides to go back to cleaning, but suddenly he sees a picture book and asks the baby if she would like to read it with him. They both sit on the carpet while reading the picture book. He feels relieved that the baby is interested in books, and he begins to read it to her. The title of the book is My Dad is a Fairy. The story begins in a deep forest, which makes him think that if it's an ancient forest from long ago, it would be the primordial forest before the Demon Age. Returning to the story, it describes where Dulcin and her dad lived. He begins to think that maybe the mother has died, still considering that the girl is lucky, because even having one parent alive in that era is a miracle. Before the girl falls asleep, her father used to tell her stories of old times. The janitor thinks that maybe those are stories about the Great War, which makes him think the main character is probably a war fanatic. Meanwhile, the baby is confused. Coming back to the story, one morning Dulcin woke up and realized that her father wasn't home, which made her think that maybe he went to find a new mother, because in that era, it was common for men to take female captives as concubines. He is sure that Dulcin must be happy she will be getting a new mother. Suddenly, he looks at the baby's expression, and she looks visibly upset, which makes him wonder if she does not like the story. She points to a corner and tells him to go sit there while she reads the picture book by herself. Back at school, Yubom can't stop thinking about Jitae having a girlfriend. Then, a girl named Gong Juhee steps out of a lavish car. She is the successor of one of Korea's top 3 swordsmanship clans, the Gong clan, but she cares more about how she looks than about swordsmanship. She hates training for it because sweating ruins her makeup. Her gaze falls on the reporters, and she wonders if they were waiting for her. She orders her secretary Kim to take care of the reporters since she doesn't like the attention she gets from them. Respectfully, he tells her that the reporters aren't here for her. Instantly, she begins to wonder who they are here for, and she realizes they are here for Yoram. She can't help but admire how beautiful she is. Meanwhile, Yoram is sitting on a boy who is acting as a chair for her, and he is the one who volunteered. Not only that, he's actually happy to be a chair. After that, a reporter wonders if they should begin with the interview, and she tells them to do so. If they don't follow her rules, she will drop the interview and go inside. The rule is 1 question per person. She then points to a guy with a cap to ask his question first. As he begins introducing himself and the channel he is from, she thinks it's too long and skips to the next question. Then she gets asked, since she has become a major issue in the superhuman world and many people are seeking her out, how does she feel about that? She replies that it sucks. Then another reporter tells her that a cafe was created for her recently and asks if she would be willing to say a word to her fans, which reminds her of the guy under her, so she skips to the next question. Then a reporter named Gang Ho from Gasan Daily asks her about the meaning behind what she shouted at the Blue Dragon School interview hall. She admits that everyone already knows what it means and skips to the next question. But he insists, asking why she used that specific word and whether she had a different intention. She gets furious and angrily tells him to stop clinging to her words, to which the reporter retorts that this is what reporters do and that she seems inexperienced. The reporter successfully provokes her, and Gael tries to drag her inside. The reporter realizes that if he provokes her more, he will get something out of it, so he says he will have to write an article based on what he saw, like, Yoram demands relationship from reporter. Of course, that provokes her, and she forms a fist, yelling that she will make sure he meets his end before he publishes anything like that. But before the fist can land, Jide comes in and stops her. He calmly asks if she has started trouble, and she angrily yells that it wasn't her, it was the reporter. So he picks her up and drags her into the school while she yells for him to put her down. He then angrily looks at the reporters and tells them not to post any article, which is enough to intimidate them. He then urges the girls not to be late on the first day of school. The entire scene is observed by Juhee, and her secretary wants to find out which clan that girl is from. But Juhee can't stop staring at Gail's honkers. Well, something American is about to begin here. Later in class, the swordsmanship teacher, Professor Kai, introduces himself. Then he talks about the lesson for today's class, which is about the history of swordsmanship and the mindset of those who carry a sword. Yoram seems visibly annoyed, but this behavior is still unexpected from her, since Jite thought she would get bored instantly and run away. She then brags that she has endured boring dramas till the end, so this isn't even a big deal. The real motive behind her working hard is to break the hooded armor chunk. She is sure she will bring his end herself. Then she turns to Jite, wondering why he is even taking the class with her, to which he taunts that she is well aware of the reason. She assures him that she hasn't caused any problems and has been behaving normally. He reminds her that she literally tried to beat up a reporter earlier that day. Instantly, she defends herself, saying the reporter kept provoking her, and if he were in her place, he wouldn't have held back either. While she is talking, she tries to lean on him, and he tells her to get away. In a flirty tone, she says that men go crazy after that kind of physical contact, which embarrasses him. He doesn't respond and she gets bored. He thinks she might be finding studying boring, but she clarifies she isn't talking about studying. She complains that a kidnapper should at least be a little interesting. When she first saw him, she expected dopamine-filled days ahead of her, but she didn't sign up for a family roleplay. According to him, a lot has happened on the way to school, which is already stimulating enough. She angrily yells that she meant fighting, killing, and all sorts of things like that, not a reporter harassing her. Suddenly, Professor Kai shows up behind her, saying that she seems a little too energetic today, and the solution for times like this is to stay with her chaperone after class. After she gets home, she is scrubbing some swords, and after a while, she slams one on the ground. She questions why the janitor from home can't clean it since he likes cleaning and wiping, but the janitor is taking care of the baby at home. The redhead baddie then wonders if he ever studied when he was young, to which he admits that he didn't have enough time to study properly. She thinks of him as a screw-up and says it just sounds like an excuse, but he assures her that he was in the middle of a war and was busy trying to survive. She is left stunned and wonders if he is messing with her. It leaves her wondering if there is any fun in his life, and he plainly admits that his life isn't fun. She tells him that if she were as strong as he is, she wouldn't be living such a boring life. Then she questions if he lost the thrill after getting too strong. He calmly replies that life continues and they have to live it, which she finds extremely edgy, and he urges her to keep scrubbing. Later, at night, the girls sit in the living room with the baby. Yoram is solving a Rubik's Cube while the janitor keeps cleaning behind her. She gets annoyed and throws the cube at his face. Yubom realizes that Yo is in a bad mood, probably because of the reporters she saw earlier that day. Yoram admits that it's partially that and partially because of the lack of dopamine. Yo calls Bomb by her name, making Bomb think she might need to be admitted to a hospital. That makes Yo angry, but she calms down and asks Bomb what she lives for. Hearing that question, Bomb turns to the baby, thinking that Yo is finally hitting puberty, which Yo overhears and begins to yell. Then Yo explains that she asked Jite the same question earlier, and his answer was just as boring as the way he looks. Yo believes humans live for enjoyment, and if there's none of that, then there's nothing to live for. She then points at Gale, who looks like she will die of excitement whenever she sees food. And the baby is just happy playing with the stuffed teddy. It makes Bomb think that maybe Jite likes something, but he just didn't tell them. Yo thinks Bomb and Jite are similar because they're both unreadable and really boring. But Bomb says there is one thing she knows. Jite is really shy. Yo can't believe that since he looks like an emotionless psychopath, which Bomb used to believe too, until she saw him in the park the other day and smiled at the thought of his little reaction. That smile creeps Yo out, and she jumps on Bomb, thinking the two of them are doing something suspicious behind their backs, while she tickles her. Suddenly Gale walks in, breaking the news that a huge community on Lair is talking about Yo and that she even has a fan cafe now. When she sees Yo on top of Bomb, with her hand underneath Bomb's shirt, Gale gets shy and runs away, telling them to continue what they were doing. This makes the redhead baddie furious, because she definitely wasn't doing anything homo. The next day, when Jite is changing, Bomb accidentally enters the room without knocking and sees him shirtless. She gets embarrassed, but he calmly asks what she needs. So she shyly enters the room and asks if he could accompany her today. As he tightens his tie, he wonders why she wants to be accompanied out of the blue. She explains that he always goes out with Yo and Gaul, and he hasn't even gone out once with her. He knows he can't leave the two troublesome women alone, but he sighs. On the other hand, Gaul's mouth is full of food, while she tries to ask Yo why she isn't going to school. Bomb tells them both that she is about to ask Jite out on a date, to which the redhead baddie thinks she probably means as her chaperone. In his room, he thinks that he has never gone out with Bomb, which makes her think he has favorites. He explains that this is not the case. Gaul says that his favoritism is bad, but she understands because her mom used to meet hundreds of human men at a time, but she always had 2 or 3 she liked more. Yo thinks her mom was pretty wild for that. Bomb is upset that he kidnapped her first, but he doesn't pay attention to her at all, and it's exactly like when you catch a fish, they stop caring about it. So she is the only one who has been abandoned. Then she cries in Gale's arms, calling Jitai mean. Yeo assures him that they won't cause any trouble and he can go around with Bomb because he cannot keep monitoring them forever. At school, everyone is talking about Yeo's older sister Bomb, and they all think she is really pretty and that she got a perfect score on the entrance interview. They've heard she's from the Yu family, which is not very well known, making her suspicious. Our boy overhears all this gossip as he is sitting just behind those people. The social etiquette theory class ends, and the remaining time will be spent practicing for social dance. The students think that having dance practice is really embarrassing. The teacher explains that when they become superhumans, they will eventually have to attend formal events, so they have to practice here, so they don't embarrass themselves when they actually have to perform somewhere. Then the teacher orders everyone to pair up in twos. It turns out that Bomb ends up with no partner, and everyone thought the boys would line up for her. One of the guys admits that she gives a very strange vibe, which makes her hard to approach, and tells his partner not to get involved with her. The teacher notices that Bomb is left without a partner and offers to pair up with her, but Bomb asks if she can partner up with her chaperone. The teacher agrees, and she runs to grab Jite. He admits that he can't dance, to which she starts emotionally blackmailing him that he cannot leave her alone, so he has no choice and gets up with her. The teacher begins to teach. Meanwhile, our boy is embarrassed to touch her. She makes him feel calm and grabs his hand, telling him that holding hands won't connect them emotionally. She also urges him not to slack or it will affect her scores. Then they begin to dance. He is visibly nervous, and even Bomb notices that his hands are very sweaty. When she looks up, he is also sweating all over his body, which makes her instantly feel shy. Suddenly she trips, but before she can fall, he holds her, and they end up having a deep eye contact. She gets so shy that her nose begins to bleed. Later, he gets her a fresh drink and wonders if she should go to the hospital while a piece of tissue is stuck in her nose. She proudly admits that dragons don't need to go to the hospital and she feels okay now. He can't stop wondering why her nose bled when he didn't even hit her. She turns her face away out of embarrassment, stuttering that she wouldn't know. She then tells him that he dances better than she expected, making her wonder if he learned dancing somewhere before. He is drawn into a flashback where he was dancing with a girl who taught him how to dance. Jite looks away and lies that he never learned how to dance before. Bomb gets up from her chair and asks if he has anything to do after school, and he says no. So she asks him if he wants to go do something fun with her, excitement in her eyes. Meanwhile, in the demonic human organization, Invisibility, Moscow, Russia, the alarms begin to blare in the research facility. A human demonic monster is seen running. She tries to escape and contact headquarters, but no matter how fast she runs, she is instantly caught by Maxim. She stutters, asking what he wants from her, and he simply admits that his lord is looking for something, followed by the question, "Where is the Commander Class Transcendent Demonic Human, Type X?" She screams that she would rather die than tell him. Very calmly, Maxim says that he has killed many of her kind, and one thing he learned is that when they are about to die, their true nature starts to show. When the pain becomes too strong, their human behavior sneaks out, and they start to act like a puppet with its strings cut and do whatever the other person says. With that said, he holds her in a chokehold with his powers midair. Maxim communicates with GTA that Type X has already been used for demonstration and sent to the Invisibility headquarters, and this time the type is a female unlike the previous regressions, which were male. GTA wonders if the chief researcher he dealt with was named Vera, and Maxim agrees. After that, GTA orders him to disguise himself as that woman, blend in with the Invisibility headquarters, and find out who X is. Basically, the Commander Class Transcendent Demonic Human Prototype X is a demonic human with the ability to bind countless demonic human minds into one. So the longer it lives, the more minds it can gather, making it a really dangerous being. That is the reason Jitai always prioritized killing Prototype X in every regression. But in this specific regression, things were different from the previous ones, which makes this task really difficult. The Grand Clock reads the malice sent from beyond the horizon of Providence and searches for the being who has deviated from the world timeline. So the fact that X's identity changed must be another deed of the malice the Guardian spoke about. Jite clenches his fist with the aim that he will kill anything that disrupts his daily life. He gets distracted by Bomb when she calls for him from behind the curtain. She shows him the bikini she's wearing, and he wonders what she even has in her mind. She explains that she wants to buy a nice bikini for summer. Since he can't see properly from outside, she tells him to come inside and have a look at her. He sighs that he thought this was supposed to be fun, but it seems like a boring trip. She gets nervous because she was having fun, and wonders if he's having weird thoughts about her. He angrily tells her not to ruin his mood. As they are walking back, she wonders if he wanted to look at her earlier, but he rejects the idea, which makes her think, how could he not want to look at her? She tries to tease him that she should have bought it, but he's not taking any of her bullshit. Then she admits the actual reason she came here. It was for the kid's presents. He doesn't understand what she means, so she explains that the baby's teddy has been completely torn, so she wants to buy a new one for her, and she wants to get gifts for the others as well. Jitae wonders what she wants to buy for the others, to which she brings up the idea that Gyul is always interested in buying clothes, so she'll buy a wallet for her so she doesn't have to feel bad whenever she goes out with her friends. For Yeo, she wants to buy something she mentioned yesterday, which is a little weird, so she excuses herself, saying she'll buy Gyul's and Yeo's presents so he can pick out Gyul's present. He walks off, and she wonders if he'll be alright shopping on his own. He goes to the toy shop and picks out a bear. The cashier looks at our boy and hardcore judges him. She assumes he is either in his late 20s or early 30s and finds him attractive too. She sees no woman with him, and he seems clueless about baby toys. The cashier is smart and thinks people like him spend way too easily. She walks up to him and asks if he's picking a gift for a baby and how old the child is. He answers that the baby is around 4 years old, and it's not his daughter, but the baby is a girl. The cashier assumes he's the uncle, which is rare because uncles don't usually pick out gifts by themselves. Then she makes him insecure, saying he's lacking a bit of sense when it comes to spending on a child. She guides him, telling him that for a 4-year-old, he should buy a Dr. playset instead of dolls and teddy bears, and that they can bond with a child with these kinds of toys. She also gives him an offer that if he buys this playset, all the other sets will be available at a discount, so he decides to take a look at them. Then she makes him buy a whole bunch of toys for her and assures him that he won't regret it. He pulls out his card, and when she looks at it, she realizes he is from a VIP family, because it's a black card issued only to them. She realizes she hit the jackpot. When she looks closer at him, she finds him charming too, and wonders if she should try seducing him even if he's married. So she asks if he has a girlfriend. Suddenly Bomb pops up, holding his arm, and the cashier wonders if this is the girlfriend. She immediately notices her uniform and realizes she's a school student and assumes she's Jitae's sister. Then Bomb begins to put back all the scams the cashier was trying to pull on the clueless lord. She says that Gyul doesn't like playsets and sharply picks out the teddy bear our boy initially chose. She turns to the cashier, wondering if this is going to get a VIP discount. When they return at night, the girls and the baby are surprised to see their presents. When Gyul looks at her wallet, she blurts out, "I love you," out of excitement for Bomb and Jitae. She wonders what Yeo got, and Yeo, with a cunning smile, admits that she got an adult toy. She begins getting closer to Gyul, saying she wants to try it on her. Meanwhile, the baby gets close to our boy to show her appreciation for her toy. Then Bomb shows the present she got for Jitae. He opens the box, and it turns out to be a tie. She bought him this tie since he always wears the same one. Further, she happily plans to buy him a suit when she is making her own money. He turns to her and says she should have gotten something for herself as well, to which she says she bought something, but she'll show that to him later. A few weeks later, Jitae turns to the janitor and orders him to take care of the baby, as he will be gone for 3 days. The janitor wonders if he will be going too far. Jitae agrees and admits that Yeo will be coming with him. At school, the anti-demonic human battle simulation has finally started. It will be a 2-night, 3-day survival combat between the students inside a virtual dungeon. The students will be in groups of 3, while their chaperone will be giving them orders. This is called operating, a term taken from the superhuman groups that specialized in monster raids, where a role named operator used to exist. Here, the chaperone will be performing that operator role. Yeo is excited and begins to mock the other students who have never seen real combat before. Jitae tells her not to act so relaxed because this isn't a solo raid. They have a team of 3 who must clear the simulation. She sighs, saying she can only be paired up with someone she likes. 2 students approach, asking to form a team with them, and she angrily tells them to go away. But Jitae inquires about their names. The guy introduces himself as Hisak Sojiro, and the girl as Kim Ji-in. Out of respect, they bow, assuring that they will try their best not to hinder them. Once again, Yeo yells at them to go away, but Jitae ignores her and forms a party with them. She's mad at Jitae, but he doesn't feed into her attitude and tells her to form her own team if she's capable enough. Well, that humbles her. Suddenly, Sojiro gets slapped by a guy who angrily reminds him that he warned him not to be around him. Sojiro apologizes for absolutely no reason, and the bully, named Johnny, turns to Ji-in, urging her to apologize too. His teammates warn him not to act too rebellious since other chaperones are watching. Johnny mocks them, saying no one cares about orphans. He then begins to harass Ji-in by grabbing her hair. She yells at him not to touch her, which makes him angry since she's talking back. Yeo chimes in, asking the bully what an orphan is. The moment he looks at her, he knows he's screwed because she's famously known as a lunatic. Even the elders told him to stay away from her. He nervously tries to brush off the conversation, explaining that an orphan is someone without a chaperone. Johnny insults them again, calling them trash nobodies. After hearing that, Yeo thinks she's stuck with losers, so Johnny grabs her, wondering why she's even pairing up with them because someone as strong as her should join another team. He offers her a spot on his team and says he'll make room for her. Well, Johnny is just in it for the profit. Her personality looks similar to his, so he thinks he can handle her. But the next thing Johnny never saw coming. Yeo forms a fist and smashes it into his face, wondering where he got the guts to put his arm around her. She breaks his teeth and insults him, calling him a low-tier scumbag who shouldn't consider himself equal to her. He quickly flees the scene before he loses more teeth. Meanwhile, Jite and the other two are left stunned. Later on, the demonic human combat battle professor, Quan Gitai, begins explaining the rules. They will be divided into 50 teams, each starting at a different spot. Every activity, including death and damage, will be converted into points, and the points will be broadcast and ranked in real time. If a player dies once, they will respawn at another location after 3 hours. Then, he reveals the name of the virtual dungeon, Ant Nest. After that, he wishes the students good luck, and they begin stepping into the virtual dungeon. The moment our red-headed baddie enters, she's motivated for a battle already. Jian wonders where the rest of the teams are. After seeing how energetic Yo is, Jian admits they don't have her stamina, so if she runs off alone, she could get ambushed from behind. Yo mocks them for being weak, but Jian firmly states that they need a plan before moving. Again, Yo tries to take the lead, saying they should only cover her and follow her. Jian snaps back that this is a team battle, so she needs to show teamwork. Our girl is surprised, and the moment quickly grows heated. Sojiro steps in, calming them down. Then Jitai steps in, asking if they have a target team they'll be taking down. Jian knows it won't be easy because every team has an operator, so they won't expose their blind spots. Yo tries to meddle, calling Jian negative and telling everyone to kill whoever they find. On the other hand, Johnny's nose is still hurting, but that's what he gets for acting tough in front of Yo. He admits he just wanted to get on good terms with her but didn't expect she was actually that crazy. His teammates wonder if he really planned to replace them, but Johnny insists he only wanted to see her reaction. Then he gets angry thinking about the girl and how he'll deal with her when he sees her again. Speak of the devil, and she appears. Yo jumps from behind and attacks him again, smashing his face and sending him flying into a rock. Their chaperone begins sweating, wondering when she even arrived. He orders his team to prepare for battle, but Yo scoffs and says they're misunderstanding the word battle because this is going to be a one-sided hunt, calling them little doggies.